In this video, I'm going to give you my review of the new Marucci Chocolate Crush Slow Pitch Softball Bat. This is an ASA USA stamp bat. So let's talk about how it performs. All right, so let me tell you how I'm going to do reviews for slow pitch bats. So I don't think it makes any sense for me to go out here and just hit with one bat and show exit velocity, talk about how it feels and all that sort of stuff, because you don't really have a good reference point for, is that a good value for the money? How does that compare to other bats? I don't know that it really works very well in a vacuum. So for the Marucci Chocolate Crush, I've got 3 comparison bats at different price points. So this is the new Victus pencil bat. Obviously, this is extremely pink. This is the same weight, 3426. This is also USA ASA stamp, and this is about the same price point. This is about $300. These are both justbats.com exclusives. Thank you to them. They sent me all these bats so that I could do this video. This is a partner video with justbats.com. My thoughts here are my own. This Easton Salvo is somewhere usually for between $180 and $200, something like that. They have kind of dynamic pricing. The Mike and Vicious is usually about $140. This is an all alloy bat, 2-piece. This is an all composite bat, 1-piece. So now we have 2 in the $300 range, 1 in the $200 range, and 1 in the $150 range. So you can say, how does the bat compare to others of different price points and similar materials, or maybe even some different materials? All right, so before we get going, these are the report cards that I've compiled. We'll go over these again in a little bit, but obviously we're going to rank all the different bats with exit velocity off the tee, which is just going to be the most consistent, because when you get under a softball, it quickly drops in exit velocity. So trying to square it up is going to give you the most accurate comparison from one swing to the next. And then obviously the Marucci bat is going to get its own ratings for sweet spot, relative performance, design quality, swing weight, and an overall score. All right, so first up, this is the Mike and Vicious. This is kind of serving as our control bat, and you'll see 85, 85, 86, 187. That's pretty typical for this bat. Next, we're going to the Marucci Yellow Corncob Crush, and, you know, a significant jump over the Mike and Vicious. So about 4 to 5 miles per hour on average. These are the top swings of the day. And of course, I took BP as well. Got a lot of hacks on this bat and all the others, including some game swings. Next up is the Victus Pencil. This was the highest performer of the day by 1 mile per hour. Really good bat. Feels a little softer on the barrel, like doesn't have quite the crisp, like shotgun kind of sound when you make contact, but a really excellent bat and similar in price. Next is the Axe Debacle. This is an excellent dual stamp bat. Didn't hit quite as hard, a lot of 87s, 88s. I also was rolling over a bunch with this bat. I think the axe handle threw me off after swinging all typical handles for most of the day, and about the same price as the Marucci. And lastly, our sort of second control bat. This one's $100 less than the Marucci. This comes in around $200. And this one performed quite well for that price point, 87, 88. I've hit some 90s on this on other days, but today it was a couple miles short. Okay, so let's talk about performance. I don't hit the ball 108 miles per hour, so I'm not going to show you triple digits on this, but this is right up there with the Victus. This is right up there with any of the really good composite bats that I've swung. It's going to stack up against pretty much anything. So if you're wondering, do I get value for $300 with this bat? You absolutely do. You're going to get what you paid for, which is a high-performing bat. This is 3 to 4 miles per hour, occasionally a 5th mile per hour, higher than bats, maybe half its price point. So you really do get something for the extra money. That's true of the Victus that we swung. That's true of the Axe Debacle. That's true of the Easton Salvo. You know, you do get something for the money as you pay more. The question for you is that worth it to you? Does extra 2 or 3 miles per hour, 3 or 4 miles per hour, 5 or 6 miles per hour, whatever a bat might provide, does that actually move the needle on your game? Is it really important? Does it turn a warning track fly ball into a home run? For some people it will, for others it won't. So that's a choice that you're going to have to make. But a relative performance, this is an excellent bat, but also you should expect that at the $300 price point. You buy your shoes, your car, lots of these things based on look and performance, not just one or the other. So I think to talk about bats in a vacuum only about their performance is leaving a lot on the table. I find this bat to be horribly ugly. I find it to be a very strange design choice. I did come up with a solution. I have this bag here, and there you have it, folks. A much improved bat design. I just don't understand, considering this is a high-end bat, $300, marketed to people who are pretty serious about softball, why we went with what I assume were M&M's characters. It's got corn on the cob vibes. It's really bright, which I'm sure dragonflies, like bees, other insects would really love the color scheme of this bat. I just don't understand how this is the high-end graphics on such a really good bat. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Marucci. When I owned a baseball academy, Marucci did all of our uniforms. We got really good deals on bats. Everything they make, I think, is really high quality. I'm actually a really big fan of Marucci as a company. I just think this design is a complete flop, and I'm just not sure who they made this for. Leave me a note in the comments. What do you think of this design, or what are some of your favorite bats all time? All right, so let's talk sweet spot on the Marucci Chocolate Crush ASA USA slow pitch bat. I gave this a 6. Again, 7 is the top score on my scale, which I just made up. It's an arbitrary amount of numbers. It could be a 1 to 93 scale. I made it 7. I give this a 6. You can put a charge in the ball, hitting it off the end. You can put a charge into it, hitting it off the trademark. It's a long barrel, and the sweet spot is pretty wide. So if you're someone who squares up all the time, you might not need to spend the extra money on a high-end bat if you really square it up well. If you're one of those people with a wood bat, you'd wear a spot in it. Most of us aren't like that. But if you're a person that, tends to not get sweet spot quite as often as you like, this is going to give you, it's going to cover your tracks pretty well, and you'll still flick some balls out if you have that kind of power. You can hit off the end pretty well. The other thing I like about this bat is it has a pretty crisp sound, more of a hard, like a shotgun kind of feel and a kind of sound to it, rather than like the kind of dead, a little bit soft feeling that I get from the Victus pencil. The Easton Salvo also has that really hard, crisp, kind of shotgun ring with it, which I find just really appealing. When you hit it good, it feels pretty satisfying. 6 out of 7, really good score for the sweet spot on this bat. All right, let's talk about swing weight. So this is important. Does this feel heavy? Does it feel light compared to other bats? It is end loaded, not like a crazy end load, but this feels like only a tiny amount heavier than a normal 3426. So if you're afraid of hey, should I get this an ounce lighter or an ounce heavier? I would say go with your true weight size. If you're comfortable swinging 27s, get a 27. Don't feel like you have to go up or down. I think this swings pretty true to weight. A couple of my buddies used it as well, and they kind of felt the same. So I feel confident giving that recommendation that whatever size you typically swing, go with it, and you won't be disappointed in this with the swing weight. Last thing I do want to mention is it's easy to lift this ball if you're an end-loaded person. Again, this is not the balanced version. This is the end-loaded version. I have trouble lifting the ball with a balanced bat. This is end-loaded. I had no trouble getting under it, lifting the ball with this one. So if that's a concern with you sometimes with end-loaded bats, I had no issue at all getting some air under it. So if that's a concern, wipe that off your list. This is an easy bat to lift the ball with. All right, so what's the overall takeaways for the Marucci Chocolate Crush ASA USA bat? I give it a 5.5. I give it a 6 for performance and a 2 for looks, but that's a personal choice. If you like this bat, if you're big, hey, I want to swing a big ear of corn with some googly faces with a really worried look on it, then this is the bat for you. At the $300 price point, you're going to get a high-performing bat. I think it's hard to really go wrong. There are some little differences, but I think this swing's pretty true to weight. It's got a really forgiving barrel. You can hit it all day and still put a charge into it. I don't know about durability because this was right out of the wrapper when I tested it. So long term, check around on Reddit, look at the murmurings, see how well this holds up compared to some others if you want to wait. If you want to pull the trigger now, I think you're going to get your money's worth for $300 for this bat. So I want to thank one more time my sponsor, JustBats.com, for sending me this bat and all the others that I tested today. I could not do this without them, so thank you so much. And for giving me the ability to speak my mind and tell you the truth about these bats. Hopefully with the design, you can tell that I'm pretty honest. And I'm not trying to really sway you one way or the other, just give you good advice about which of these bats work, which ones don't, how they look, how they feel, all that sort of stuff, so you can make a good decision for yourself. But check out justbats.com, including links to everything you've seen in this video in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you here in the next video.